All right, welcome. Let's think of this as a consultation. Today, we're going to dive into the biology of stress. And by the end, I'll be prescribing 7 really simple habits to help you find your calm. So let's get started. So let me just start with a question for you. Do you ever get that feeling? The stressful meeting is finally over, that difficult conversation has ended, but you still feel restless, on edge, maybe just completely exhausted? If so, you're not alone. It's an incredibly common symptom. Okay, so let's get a clear diagnosis. What you're experiencing is something we can pretty accurately call a stress hangover. You know that feeling, right? That wired but tired sensation that just seems to stick around long after the actual stressful thing has disappeared? And here's the key reason why this happens, biologically speaking. When you're stressed, your body pumps out hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Now, most of us think that when the event is over, those hormones just switch off. But they don't. They can actually hang around in your system for hours, and that keeps your brain stuck in survival mode. Now, the main chemical we're really talking about here is cortisol. A good way to think of it is as your body's built-in alarm system. And look, it's incredibly useful when you need to be alert and ready for action. The problem is when that alarm bell just keeps on ringing and ringing. This slide really gets to the heart of a big misunderstanding. Over on the left, you see what we think happens. The problem is done, so the stress is done. Simple. But on the right, that's the biological reality. The stress hormones are still there, keeping your brain on high alert. That gap right there, that's what we need to close. But here's the good news, and it really is good news. We can absolutely do something about this. Your body has its own built-in biological off switches. So let's move on to the prescription. We're going to look at exactly how to actively and intentionally flip those switches and signal to your brain that it's safe to finally stand down. So the prescription has 7 simple habits, and I want you to think of these not as another list of chores, but as clear signals of safety that you can send directly to your nervous system. Each one helps your body metabolize those leftover stress hormones and get back to a state of balance way faster. We're going to start with 2 of the most powerful and direct tools you have at your disposal, your own body and your breath. Believe it or not, these are the fastest ways to communicate directly with your nervous system. Okay, first up, breathing. And this is interesting. The real magic isn't in taking a huge deep breath in. It's actually all about a slow, extended exhale. See, a longer exhale stimulates something called the vagus nerve, which in turn activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the part responsible for calming you down. You might have heard it called the rest and digest mode. A really simple way to practice this is with what we call 4-8 breathing. You just inhale calmly through your nose for about 4 seconds, and then exhale slowly and fully for 6 to 8 seconds. Just doing a few rounds of this can act as one of the fastest biological off switches you have to start lowering that cortisol. The second habit is gentle movement. And here's why this works so well. For most of human history, stress meant a physical threat, something you had to either fight or run from. But today, our stress is often psychological, which means our bodies get all revved up with nowhere for that energy to go. So some gentle movement, we're talking a short walk, a few light stretches, it tells your brain that the threat has been physically handled. It closes that incomplete stress loop, and that gives your body permission to finally let those cortisol levels fall. All right, next up, let's talk about the signals you're sending your brain through your senses. Your brain is constantly, and I mean constantly, interpreting information from your environment to decide if you're safe or not.
So habit 3 is all about using light. Just getting 10 minutes of natural daylight helps regulate your body's internal clock. It does this through a part of your brain called the hypothalamus. You can think of it as the master clock for your hormones. This helps stabilize your cortisol rhythm and sends a really powerful signal of safety.
We also have to talk about removing stimulation. I mean, in our world today, our brains are just constantly processing a massive amount of sensory input. It keeps our nervous systems perpetually switched on. Sometimes you just need to take a break.
And you know the culprits. It's the constant ping of notifications, the drone of background noise, trying to juggle multiple screens at once. Sometimes the most effective path to calm isn't about adding another wellness practice, but simply removing this constant stimulation for just a few minutes.
Now this one might surprise you, but hydration is absolutely critical. Even being mildly dehydrated is interpreted by your body as a kind of survival threat, and that can cause your cortisol levels to rise. So staying hydrated is a really fundamental signal of stability and safety.
As human beings, we are just wired for connection. A calm conversation with someone you trust, making some eye contact, or even just hearing a familiar, friendly voice, all of these things activate safety circuits in our brain. This process, it's called co-regulation, and it's a powerful, natural way to lower cortisol.
Okay, our final habit. This one is all about the silent signals your brain gets from your physical environment. Let's talk about your space.
So your brain is always quietly asking in the background, am I safe enough to relax right here, right now? And a cluttered, chaotic environment can subtly increase your stress load. Simple things like opening a window or tidying your desk can send a really powerful signal of safety, and that allows your nervous system to calm down.
So, what's the prognosis? Well, it's very positive. And that's because managing this biological state is totally within your control through these small, consistent actions. And this is really what I want you to take away from our talk today. This isn't about overhauling your entire life. It's about learning to speak your nervous system's language. It's about using these small, regulatory habits to gently guide your biology back toward a state of balance.
So the most crucial point is this. While stress feels like it's all in your head, its roots are really deep in your body. It is a physical, biological state. And because it's biological, you have physical tools to influence it. You have so much more agency here than you probably think.
So I'll leave you with a final thought, a final question. After our little consultation today, which one of these simple prescriptions are you going to fill first? What safety signal are you going to choose to send your brain right now?